Welcome to the Digital Talk Show with Arwa. I'm Arwa, your host, and I'm a freelancer. And every week I bring on some amazing guests on my podcast who are killing it in the online world. We bring on guests who have started their journey as a beginner and are now making some big cash months through freelancing, blogging, or any other online sources. So, welcome everybody to the Digital Talk Show with Arwa. We have a very lovely guest, Sierra. She is a website designer and a funnel strategist and runs a company called Sierra Lynn Design. Sierra builds holistic brands for coaches, CEOs, and post creators who are ready to build their online authority. You guys, she's one of the best designers I have ever known. So, introducing to you the best designer, Sierra.
Oh, thank you so much, Arwa. You are so kind. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, Sierra, tell us more about yourself and your business.
Yes, of course. Like you said, Arwa, I design websites and funnels for female entrepreneurs, online coaches, course creators, service providers. I absolutely love what I get to do because I get to take business owners' really passionate messages, those big picture, visionary type goals, and I get to make it tangible reality by building them funnels to capture leads, to nurture their clients, and of course, sell their products and services and offers so they can do more of what they love online.
Awesome. So, how did you discover your passion to start an online business?
That's a great question. So, I really discovered my passion for my business in a backwards sort of way, as I'm sure you hear a lot when you're interviewing business owners here. My web design business started as a hobby. I started designing websites years ago, just kind of for fun. And then when COVID started and we all had way more time, at least I did, stuck at home, I decided to, hey, maybe I should start kind of a side hustle out of my web design hobby and started that way. And then it grew and grew and grew, what feels like very fast now. And I realized it's what I love doing. So that's now what I do full time is my web design and funnel strategy business.
Wow, that's so amazing. So, for someone who's just starting out, how do you advise them to, build an online business just like you? Because I see so many website designers who are struggling to get clients and they don't know what to take, what's the first step because they're so good in their work, but they don't know how to, get clients. So, what do you suggest to them?
Great question again. And there are so many things we could talk about, which I'm happy to talk about as far as getting clients, especially for web designers or really any service providers online, whether you're a copywriter or you do graphic design services. But I'll stick to the key things that I think really made a difference and helped me a lot once I figured these things out online. When starting out, a lot of people tell you to niche or niche down into something specific. While that can be helpful, don't be afraid at the beginning just to try something and know that you will change your mind later. I did not start in the same niche industry I am, and that's totally okay because all the skills I learned in the other industries I was focusing on helped me a lot. So pick something that you think you'll like, try it, but be ready to shift, be ready to change as your skills grow and as you find more needs that you can serve. And don't be upset when it changes. Think of that as an expected thing that you will change over time, and that's good to be ready for that. I think for designers specifically, as well as service providing freelancers, a big way you can distinguish yourself early on is customer service. I'll be the first to tell you that I am not the most talented website designer, right? And there's always someone more talented than all of us, right? In our specific niche, whatever you're doing, whether editing videos, designing websites, but I would argue you can be the best at providing customer service and showing that you really care about your clients. And that's what sets you apart. And that's what makes clients refer their friends. That's what makes clients keep coming back. So above all else, think about how can I take care of my client? Just go above and beyond. And that will get you remembered and noticed.
Awesome, awesome. So, that was really great advice. Like someone who's struggling to get more clients, what do you suggest to them?
Great question, because at the beginning, it's always harder to get clients, like get the first few clients. That's always the most difficult thing. I prefer a method that some website designers and some business coaches will say, don't do this, but I'm going to say it. Don't be mad at me, anybody. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this too, Arwa. But I am a big fan because what I did in the beginning of offering your services for free or really, really reduced prices. Now, Should you be offering free services forever? No, of course not. That's bad, right? You need to be paid. But if you don't have any clients and you need to build a portfolio of examples, get testimonials, you can go to places where your clients hang out. For me, that was Facebook groups. And you could say, honestly, hey, I am starting a new web design business. I have experience, but say it's a new business. I want to build up my portfolio. I'm happy to provide discounted design services. Here's some of my work. If you have, mock-up examples you've done, and you will get people reaching out to you. Just make sure that you protect yourself by putting very clear contracts in place, even if it's for free or a couple dollars. Make sure you're not getting yourself into any huge scope creep issues. But that's a great way to do simple projects for people, make them really happy, and get client reviews in the first place. That can help a lot.
That's awesome, because I know when I started out as offering my services for free, because I had no clue how to start, and I just wanted that first initial push that yes, my service is good and it's worthy of paying, someone will pay for it. So yes, definitely I do agree with the fact that you can offer it for free, or you can even offer a free trial to them of 7 days, and then you can say that after that it'll be paid. So yeah, that's some very good advice out there. Okay, so this question, I know that I also face a lot. There's a lot of ups and downs in a service-based business. So it has time freedom, it has freedom of all the kind, but there are some disadvantages to it as well. So have you faced any disadvantages, or have you struggled anywhere in your journey?
Oh, yes. So many struggles. And I'm happy to talk about them, because I think it's nice when we hear that other people have struggled and made mistakes, because then we know we're not all alone. But so many things. In the beginning, this goes back to our last question, when I said make sure you protect yourself with contracts, I didn't. And I got myself into a lot of issues, nothing terrible or legal trouble. And I've always had great clients. I've had amazing clients, but the problems would happen the client and I miscommunicated on what the project would be. So I was building massive e-commerce websites for free, right? And that's bad. So things like that, where I wasn't planning and saying, okay, here's what our project's going to be, and protecting my own time, because of course I wanted to help my client, which is good, but you've also got to find that balance of protecting your time. Getting a contract, there's a ton of contracts that are very inexpensive online that you can use as templates. That was a big mistake I made that caused me a lot of headache early on. Then I think continually to this day, something I personally struggle with is work-life balance. And because like you said, we have that time freedom, you have to train yourself to have that specific boundaries that can be whatever you want, but you have to be okay, I'm working, I'm not working, because I love my work. And so my tendency is to work all the time, which of course is not healthy for anyone. So that's been something I continually try to get better and better at.
I can so relate to that, because I know it's 10:30 p.m. right now and I'm doing this podcast. I can totally relate to it. Sometimes it's so hard to to draw a line, just so you know that okay, this is work, and just because I like it, I can't do it 24 hours in the day. Exactly. So can relate on that point. Okay, so you talked about work-life balance. So what are some of the key things that you do to lighten your mood after a hectic day of work?
Ooh, I like that question. I found that I need something to take my mind from, okay, I'm working now, to, okay, now I'm with my family, or now I'm relaxing at life, right? As far as the work. And what I actually do, this is going to sound a little silly, but it works for me, is I transition my thoughts during the day, I'm always listening to podcast episodes or audiobooks, because I get to design and I like listening at the same time. So what I'll do is in the morning before work, I'll listen to work-related business podcasts. There's so many good ones, and it's fun, or an audiobook on business, finance type things that get me in that mindset. But towards the end of the day, when I know I'm going to stop working in about an hour, I'll switch to a fun audiobook. Something silly, like a romance book or something, nothing to do with business. And I'll listen to that, and it gets my mind shifted away from, okay, now we're in relaxation, fun time. And that's actually helped me a lot.
Wow, that's an amazing advice. I have to try that as well. I do listen to a lot of audio books, but those are mostly business related and nothing else. But yeah, definitely I should try that.
I realized that because same thing, I was listening to business books that I liked at night or in the evening when I was relaxing, and I'd be like, oh, I got to go back to my computer and try that. It's such a good idea. And I was like,
Yeah,
I'm still thinking about work because I'm listening about work.
yeah. So, okay. So the next question that I wanted to ask is I absolutely love your designs, and like where do you get the design inspiration from? It's just absolutely so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Ara. That's really kind of you. Because I really love your design. So thank you. That means a lot coming from a fellow designer. I really do get my design ideas from everywhere around me. And I think that sounds cliche, like something a designer just says, but it's true. My own brand colors I saw on a drink can, and I was like, that I love that color combination. And of course, the drink can had nothing to do with my business, right? But just seeing things around us kind of hit me that way. But when I'm doing it for a client, it's a little different because I do like to take inspiration from them, and I have to make sure it matches their brand and what they're interested in. And so for that, with my clients, I tend to try to immerse myself in their brand. So if they have a podcast, I listen to their podcast all day. If they have a YouTube channel, I watch all their YouTube channel. I read all their stuff on social media. I do intensive interviews with them where we're talking on Zoom together. And I just try to like really entrench my mind in their world. I do this so much. I often dream about my client's brand, like the colors and the graphics and those sorts of things, because it makes it easier for me as a designer to get really in the zone of a certain client.
That's awesome. So the design process, for someone starting out, how would you suggest them how to start, getting into your shoes and just starting out with the design process?
That's a great question. And I do have systems I use for that. Is your audience are they mostly thinking for the brand design for their own business, or fellow designers who are designing for other clients?
For other clients.
Okay, perfect. That I like to use for if you're a designer or brand designer, website designer, graphic designer for your clients. I love to interview the client in a type of intent. I call it an intensive, but really it's like an interview where you're asking them about their ideal client and about their industry and getting in the mindset of, okay, what is your client like? And how that helps branding is I will ask about the emotions of their client. So how do you help your client, as in before they work with you, what bad emotions are they feeling? Are they stressed? Are they tired? Are they scared? Are they in some sort of trauma? Or are they just frustrated? There's a bunch of different emotions that they could start in. And then once you're done, once we help them, what types of emotions are they at that point? Are they happy? Are they relieved? Are they relaxed? Are they excited and invigorated? Because I think sometimes people just think happy. It's kind of one emotion, but it's not. Being excited and ready to go and on fire is really different than being relaxed and calm. Then what we do in the branding is everything for that client's branding should match the emotional tone of their desired state, the good state. So if it's exciting, we're ready to go, they're inspired, we'll use a lot more warmer colors, so oranges and pinks, things like that in the branding. Where if they help their clients be more relaxed and calm and peaceful, we'll use cooler tones in the branding.
Okay, that's some really technical terms in terms of design, and I can talk about it for hours because I love design. But let's stick to the podcast. How do you deal with like imposter syndrome? I know like people are like the world of freelancing is very competitive, and in terms of price as well, in terms of quality as well. So how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
I think that's a huge thing that we have to deal with in so many industries. I think it's more obvious in our online space because we're around so many other people that do what we do, and they do certain things of what we do better, right? I'll see some of my web design friends, make a Squarespace website or some other platform that I don't even know how to do, right? And I'll be like, oh, that's so great. Or I'll see someone with a logo and I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And I think it's part of it has to be our mind training ourselves to go to kind of celebrate other people's victories and also know that we're distinct in ourselves and what we do. What's nice is that in our design freelance space, there is much more demand than there are designers. It doesn't feel like that because there's a ton of designers and freelancers. But when we are just talking about the freelancers and designers like you and I, Arwa, or your people listening to the podcast that are focused on that excellent customer care, there's not that many of them. Like there may be thousands of designers who just will kind of throw up a template, but there's not that many that are going to care that deeply about the client. So I think reminding myself that it's not a competition, right? I have tons of web designer and designer friends, and it's definitely not a competition. I practice referring people to my designer friends that have a specific thing that I don't do. Like, for example, I don't do e-commerce sites. So I'll send my friends who need websites that are like that to someone. And I don't do other certain types of websites. So I'll send people to them. That's great because it really shows that you are a friend and not a competition. And you'll find the designers sending people back to you for the things that you do.
That is so amazing. Like, collaboration over competition is a mantra that I go by, because even I get like in my head, it's very easy to compare on social media with so much happening around you. So I know. So yeah, that's a great advice there. And so what are your favorite tools that you use in your business?
Ooh, great question. So of course I love Canva. Arwa, you are a Canva queen. I know we're both obsessed with Canva, but it's so fun. Even if you're a designer that uses Photoshop, I still highly recommend using Canva because your clients can use it and you can make templates for them. So that's what I really like about it. As far as other tools for like running my business, I have two that are for the same thing, but I've used at different times for invoicing or receiving money. When I started, I used Wave, WAVE for invoicing because it's free, which is really, really great. And you can invoice people professionally instead of, doing something weird with PayPal or a Venmo, which you don't want to be doing. Then now I use Thrivecart, and I love Thrivecart if you sell anything or invoice or anything like that. Those are very helpful tools.
Okay, so yeah, that's also amazing. The point that you said about Canva is I absolutely love experimenting. Even in my free time, I find myself experimenting on Canva, so I can so relate to that point. Okay, so coming to the end of the podcast, the last question, actually the second last question that I wanted to ask is, how do you advise someone who is stuck up on, pricing? So they don't know if they want to charge hourly or if they want to charge with like value-based pricing. So what do you suggest to them?
That's a great question. And your pricing will definitely change over time, which is fine because you want to increase your prices over time as you're more experienced. And also you'll figure out what works for you. There's kind of two realms of the pricing that I've seen, and both can be good. It depends on what you like best as far as the project-based pricing. Like, I'm going to make a website for you and it costs this much. Or there's the retainer pricing where you're going to help someone on a continual basis and it's this much per week or per month. Now, both have pros and cons, both are good. And I recommend trying the one that you think would be best first. I have mostly done the beginning of my business only project-based, which helped a lot because that let me experiment with prices. It was like, okay, let's do the website. It's this much, and we're done. But now I'm moving into retainer prices, which allows me to work longer term with my clients. I think if you're not sure, though, if someone's new listening to the podcast, starting with project, let's say if you're a web designer, may be nice because then it lets you and the client get to try working together. And then if you are not a good fit for the client, you don't have to keep working with them. You can be like, okay, great, that was fun. Now we're done, right? And then clients who you think, I want to help them forever, yet our personalities work well together. You can propose doing the social media graphics continually or blogging, things like that.
Okay, awesome. So even I feel like Hourly pricing is best when you are, the client doesn't know what they need. Because sometimes you
Hmm.
get so much of like, I want this change, I want that change. And then you don't
Yeah,
know, like, oh my God, I have charged only like $300 and now the client is asking for like so many changes. So yeah,
exactly.
that
I will say I do have a thing that's helped with that because I had the exact same issue, Arwa, with the revisions. I do have kind of a limit on revisions, kind of. What I do is I let my web design clients have unlimited revisions, but they
Hmm.
must get those revisions to me within 72 business hours, so 3 days. And
Oh,
that
that's really
helps move
nice.
the project
Hmm.
because when I first started, people would come back a week later and say, oh, I changed my mind,
Hmm.
and then keep doing that and it takes forever. So I'd say, I'll change anything for you, but let's change it and then keep going, change it and then keep going,
Hmm.
which helped some.
Okay, that is awesome. That's an awesome advice right there. Okay, so last question. What is your freebie that you offer, and what is the one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's just starting out?
So first, and actually this goes with the freebie. So I'll start with the freebie and this will help you with my one piece of advice as well. So I just recently released depending on when this podcast airs, but it will still be available, so no worries, reverse engineering offer planning guide. So this is actually a spreadsheet, a swipeable tool that I walk you through part notes, part calculations that helps you design a signature offer that is going to make you the revenue goals that you have. What's nice about the spreadsheet is you can choose your revenue goals. So you want to make 6 figures, great. You don't want to make that much, great. You want to make more, great. You get to plug that into the spreadsheet and it will help you decide what type of offer, how many clients you need, also how to position it, how to market it in a way that I find really helpful. Often I see service providers and coaches will start with thinking of the idea of the offer and not thinking about the revenue goals. And then when it comes time to launch, it's like, wait, I can't actually make that much money with this thing that I made. So this is to help with that. And this will help you with my one piece of advice as well. The offer planning guide will help you design a signature offer, which is higher ticket, as in not, a $27 little mini course or $37 thing. Because my one piece of advice is do not start with low ticket items because then unless you're very, very famous, that's very, very hard to sell. So start with something more high ticket. The offer planning guide will help you do that. And you can find it at my website, crlindesign.com/offer planning, all one word.
Okay, awesome. I'll link all the required links in the description box so you guys can go check that out. Again, thank you so much for coming to my podcast and having this lovely conversation. It was an honor having you.
Thank you so much, Arwa. It was lovely to talk with you.